Good evening. Welcome to another edition of the 411 Talk Zone radio show right here on YouTube. And I'm just going to get into a news story. And I'm going to talk about the traitorous American public. Now, I live here in Indianapolis, and I know there's a protest going on against the Trump administration's policies called 5150. And that includes 51 protests in all 50 states, including Washington, D.C. Now, the reason why I call all these individuals traitorous Americans is because the Trump administration has been looked at for the past couple of weeks as utilizing Project 2025, which is all bullshit because there is no Project 2025. In fact, that was created by the Heritage Foundation. What we have is Agenda 47. Now, the Democrats really want a Marxist society. And what is happening is for a while, past 30, 40, 50, or even 60 years, we've had this left wing ideology. Now you see a meltdown in the media when it comes to abolishing the U.S. Department of Education. You also see government workers, buyouts. I know you see negotiations with Greenland to try to get resources so we can bring more energy to the United States, which will lower prices. Now, I'm a free thinking black man. And, a lot of these protests out here are left wingers because they're not getting their way. And I hope they keep protesting because I don't want the Democrats in power. This is not Project 2025. And all they're doing is they're cutting some programs. Now, I saw a video, and that was a fake video with Selena Gomez crying about the illegal immigrants. Now, first of all, a lot of these lefties in here, they want the illegal immigrants to stay. Well, they're criminals. But they want them to stay because welfare. And we don't need them to do the jobs that we wouldn't do. We're not getting the brightest. We're getting individuals or laborers. People coming in from Mexico, Venezuela, all those other countries. They're not your engineers. They're not your scientists. They're criminals / laborers. And shout out to Brother Minister Jap and Angry Man for bringing this up. Yes, I'm going to give them a shout out as well, because when it comes to thinking black men, particularly in this sector, I don't see too many of them. Now I can go to the conservative twins, Will Johnson, BCP, Barry Cunningham, Devroy Darkins, the A-Dog, and there are a few others. But for years, we've seen the media just come down hard on conservatives. And now there was also a video out where you had some conservatives, or you had some people, I don't know if they were left wingers, who regretted voting for Trump. Now, the voters spoke in November. See, the problem with America today is we have a lot of dumb lefties. They went to college. They're fighting all these programs like DEI, which is a free thinking brother. I don't benefit from DEI. No, women benefit from DEI. In fact, where I'm from, the state of Maryland, the biggest employer is the government, and most of the women work for government. Bottom line is from the 60s to now, we went from a conservative society to a more liberal society. But when it goes the other way, now these liberals out here are looking at everybody who doesn't agree with their agenda as fascists. They're looking at Trump as a dictator. The media's lying. Now, for all you Americans who don't like what's going on, why don't you leave? I mean, you Sonny Houstons of the world, you Joey Behars of the world, all of you leave. CNN, leave. You're not going to leave. You know why? Because you're not going to get that constitution when you go to other countries. And what really disturbs me is you got these illegals coming in from their countries. They're burning our flag, but they're waving their flag. So for all you illegals out there, if your country is so great, why don't you go back? And then yesterday, it looked like I-80 in California, where you had a protest on an interstate. But what's that protest going to really do? It's not going to do anything. The Democrats, I read, and it's a black man, another black man, and I don't trust these niggas for anything. Black people can't run shit, most of them. They had their day, they wanted integration, and now they're really in the back of the bus. People like Hakeem Jeffries. They believe in the socialists and the Marxists and the communist movement. They do. In their minds, they're still slaves. If you all who are Americans want to fight for the illegals, why don't you go live in a country with those illegals? You want Marxism, you want communism so much. Go back with them. We don't need you here. You're destructive. You want big government. You think because the president is cutting some of the government programs, he believes in tariffs. Now, do I agree with everything that's going on? No. But a number of you, do you agree with what your boss does? No. But there needs to be changes. For too long, we've had indoctrinations from these college institutions, feminism, and just like Brother Minister Jeff said, feminism is our biggest ideology. It's our biggest, it's our biggest enemy. And black men, you fall right behind black women. A number of you are weak. And any man who's in the Democratic Party, unless you're one of the blue dog Democrats, which the last black blue dog Democrat I saw was Harold Ford, former congressman from Tennessee. The Democrats are run by left wingers. You have the Democrats wanting to hold up on Trump's confirmees or confirmations for his people. Look, you don't have to like the president. I didn't care too much for Joe Biden, but a number of you certainly were living poor, bitching about food prices, gas prices when he was in office. But where was all the smoke for black people not getting their just due there? Where was all the smoke? You know, you have the United States or the USA. We just want to know where our money is going. And then when we find out where our money is going, now you get the left wingers out here. They're going crazy. See, that's the deep state. These are the people who have been stealing money. DEI, foreign countries. That's our money going away. folks, you need to educate yourself. Stop getting in your feelings. Government right now is too big. And I believe we need to shrink the size of government. I believe that putting the education system back into the states is much more beneficial than having a federal government system. You know, having more tax money in our pockets. It seems to me that these treasonous leftist Americans, particularly on The View, particularly on MSNBC, CNN, and all the rest of these shows, they want things to stay the same because they were benefiting from it. They want transgenderism. Now, I believe, and it could be, that some people on the left, the pervs out here, they want the illegals to come over so they can utilize some of the foreign boys and girls for their satisfaction. Because they can blackmail them and say, you're illegal. But for you illegals, go back to your own country. If your country is that great, how come you're here? And how come you're here with your flag? I mean, if you're going to come into our country, you need to assimilate. I guarantee if I went into your country with an American flag, I might get shot, especially in Mexico. But the bottom line is, we have all these people out here who believe that they're entitled. They come over, they don't want to go home. And then we have enablers from the left. And you lefties are traitors. All of you lefties out here, just go. Go with the illegals. Go live around them. You're not interested in this country. You're interested in the benefits of this country. And for people who are living in this country, particularly in your larger cities, you don't have to like the administration, the Trump administration, and what they're doing. What I would do, cut off the funding. Cut off the funding to Chicago, to Baltimore, all these individuals who don't want to listen. I know Maryland today, Westmore, he had a state of the state address. These protests are not going to help your Democrats. I mean, because you're still running the same old playbook. You're running race. You're running sexual orientation. You're running gender. It didn't work for you during the last election. It's not going to work for you now. And the media is still lying. They forget the 4 years we spent under President Biden. And they're upset at Elon Musk. Elon Musk is advising Trump. Now, change can be very, very painful. And with Black people, see, Black people have been reduced to nothing but workers themselves. They had it going on when they rebuilt Black Wall Street. But they wanted integration. See, this is the problem when you don't own anything. And the problem with the illegals coming over here, they built their protest off the civil rights movement. I will say this, Black people started it off. And too many Black people are out here talking about Black and brown people. Brown people don't give a damn about you. In fact, they'll come over here and they'll look you in the face and call you nigga to your face. And they're not even from here. But they love to take your culture. And I've seen some of them out here. Hip hop music. Some of them have dreads. Some of them have the styles. They love the black styles, but they don't love the black people. But they want us to bow down and kiss their asses. No, I don't care what happens to any of these illegals. And I don't even care what happens to the Americans who are for the illegals. If somebody came and dragged all those ladies off the View across the border, it wouldn't bother me at all. If somebody took MSNBC off the air, CNN, it's not going to bother me. Because these are the people who are supposed to be Americans. They don't like this country. It's no patriotism. And black people, for the most part, many of them today have never been slaves, but it's been passed down to them that they're oppressed. They're doing a hell of a lot better now, but they're still talking about oppression. First of all, most black people today don't even know what oppression is. You have a job. You have opportunity, particularly your black women out here. I mean, you've been given more and more hour through the feminist movement, and you're still not appreciative. And what really bogs me down with these illegals here, they're criminals. You had some individuals in Colorado who wanted the criminal gangsters to stay. And these are American people. Have you all lost your minds? What it is, many Americans are stupid, particularly on the left. You have people like Jasmine Crockett. In Texas, you need to vote her out. You need to vote all these women out of the Democratic Party. And if you look at all the cities, particularly run by black women, they don't know how to run anything. You have a number of the black men who don't know how to run anything either. You look at Baltimore, you look at Chicago. And you have black people still running on the old civil rights. Civil rights is dead. But you have all these individuals who voted for Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris was your gal. She lost. The Americans spoke on November 5th. And the big task was to get rid of some of these illegals. See, if you get so many illegals, that way you can get rid of some of the criminal element. You can also get rid of the welfare state. And cutting down some of these wars, you can keep the money here. You have tariffs. The tariffs, by the way, on Canada are on hold. It's 25%. But it's no reason why we need to take every other country's criminals here. You go and do something over there in other countries. I know in Turkey, you've seen the movie Midnight Runner, or I think it was Midnight Run, beating you on the bottom of the feet in prison. Those prisons are not just at all. You go to Singapore, you destroy some of those properties there, you're going to get caned. There was somebody in Ohio who did that, and they got caned. You go over there as a woman to the UAE, the United Arab Emirates. You don't know the country's laws and the language there. They don't lock you up. They won't smack you around over there. You see, when it comes to Americans going to other countries, we're not respected there at all. But we're expected here in our country to respect people who come over from other countries and they bring their borders, culture, and language right here. But they'll burn or they'll shit on the American flag. The American flag that I fought for 17 years. These individuals are not patriotic at all. In fact, when it comes to our own black people, many of them, they'll go in the military just for a check. They're not patriotic. They hate this country. You have Africans who come over here. They think they're smarter than we are. And foreigners, again, if you don't like our country, go back to your own country. And for you Americans, you traitors to Americans, The View, and all your left-wing shows out here, go with them. Whoopi Goldberg, go with them. Sonny Houston, go with them. Selena Gomez, go with them. We're not going to miss you at all. Many of you out here don't understand America. I'm talking about you illegals. You don't know anything about the Constitution. You don't even know who our forefathers are. You don't even know when Independence Day was. You don't even know what it's about. Many of you don't even know the capitals of your cities, I guarantee. You illegals over here, because you come over here, you're not even trying to learn our language, but you want us to assimilate in your language. And you think your country is great when you're over here, but you won't go back to your country. And I know Mexico is full of cartels, but you're still coming over here thinking your country is great. You're running around and protest with your flag. I don't give a damn about Palestine or Israel. I don't live there. Let them kill each other. Because when I'm long gone, they're going to continue to fight each other. And for this business about DEI, there's nothing wrong with diversity, but you don't take away a qualified person for a job and put in somebody because they're black because you need a certain amount of you need quotas. That's wrong. Because what you're doing, you're taking somebody that could actually do the job by replacing it for someone who's of race, sexual orientation, gender, disability status, might not be able to do the job. And a lot of you lefties out here, what you want us to have the same society that we had before the Trump administration. You want transgenders in women's sports. Where the feminists at? You want them in the military. Because many of you are thinking with your feelings. You're not thinkers at all. You're looking at everything as being unfair. I mean, you look at the brawl that just took place in Dalton, Illinois. You look at us as black people. There's no community. And it's funny because the foreigners come over here, and this is as per Brother Minister Japp, and we all know this too, an angry man. They come on over in this country, and they take advantage of black people. They're not doing anything innovative. They go right into the hood, bring in their greasy Chinese food. They got the hair stores. They got the grocery stores. And the meat isn't all that great. It's probably expired. But they look at us when they're coming into our neighborhoods, call us niggas. And they're doing that so they can impress their white persons. They don't like black men, particularly free-thinking black men. They tolerate black women because they can put them up on the counter and bang the shit out of them. That's what they can do. But they don't like black men, free-thinking black men. And when it comes to the society, you're an illegal, you broke the law. Come back and do it the right way. You do not get rewarded with any of the welfare benefits that I pay for my tax money And then you want to piss on the system for taking them away. First of all, you're criminals. Even if you didn't murder anybody, you're still criminals because you came across the border on your own. You didn't get political asylum, and you were in our hotels, brand new hotels. The government paid for it. Some of them put you in housing, got on a welfare dole. And Trump made his first promise to clean out all the illegals, him and Tom Homan. Bottom line, when it comes to government, I believe in representative government. Government needs to be returned to the people. You have too many people in government who are establishment people, whether you're Democrats or Republicans. You're in Washington, D.C., living these lavish lifestyles, but you're not changing anything. You've been in politics too long. And in the end, you act like you want to change the laws. You don't want to change the laws. You want to keep everything the same because you benefit off of it. And you have your lobbyist groups. You have your race baiters like Al Sharpton. They're benefiting off of everything that the government gives them. Now, like I said, when it comes to the DEI, it is white women who benefit the most. Then your Asians. Then your Latinas. Then your Indians. Then your disability. Then your veterans. And then on the bottom, Black people. And the Black man is directly at the bottom. I don't get anything. I have to figure it out. And I've been to other countries. And it makes it very difficult to go into another country. They're not going to take English. You have to assimilate into their country. They're not going to let me bring the American flag into Greece and protest. That's their country. We're the only country that allows that. It's about time for us not to allow it. I mean, Trump has been in power for 2 weeks. And I'm already hearing everybody talking about Project 2025. And nobody's even read Project 2025. We have one of the problems too is we have too many stupid Americans, particularly on the left. And this is why we need to abolish the United States Department of Education, because the education system in the United States sucks. We got all these professors coming in here. They're indoctrinating all these kids to be social justice warriors. They're running around in all these protests, and they don't even know what the hell they're protesting about. And they just believe what a college professor says. Many of them who are working for the government, they didn't get degrees in STEM. Now, you might have some that have law degrees. Most of them got degrees in bullshit. So they're pushing paper. And see, here's the thing. When you downsize government, you're actually cutting people's jobs. Well, the bottom line is you had too many government workers sitting at home. What are they doing? How are they documenting their time? I mean, I always believe that if you're able-bodied and you're not sick, you should be able to get into work. The coronavirus is over, but you still have some people who are working from home. And there's no way to account for the hours. I mean, all that government space, it could be sold So some private businesses. And we're going to continue to have these illegals. I mean, they think they want to challenge Trump, tell Trump to go do this and do that. You're in America. It's a new day. And it's only been 2 weeks. And you have the dummies on a view talking about eggs when there was a bird flu out there, which if they understood any type of economics here, supply and demand, it killed a lot of the birds because they may have been sick. And if they had had eggs and we had eaten those eggs, we may have gotten some. So yes, there's demand for eggs, but there's a low supply. That's why the prices in some areas are very, very high. And that's for a big flat of eggs because, I'm going to Kroger and Myers here, and eggs are, I mean, they're up there, $3.99, $4.99 for a carton of eggs. I mean, if you're going to really get the best eggs, and I've had them before, it's actually from the farm, not from the grocery store. But you have a lot of people who believe that they're entitled. But a lot of your treasonous Americans here, that's really, nobody's talking about that. They're encouraging all this bullshit. I heard an illegal the other day say, well, where's Black Lives Matter? We had your back. You didn't have our backs. You didn't have our backs at all. And for black people, you're too stupid, including brown people in your movement. Everybody's coattailing off your movement, and you got nothing out of it. And you're still complaining. So all that marching and sore feet that you did, black people in the 60s, it went all for naught. Because everybody else is getting what you ain't getting. You have some of the Asians over here. You don't see too many Asians out there marching. They bring their own money and they have their own businesses. They don't need the government. You don't even have a lot of politicians who are Asian here. Yeah, you have some Indians, they bring their own money. You see, every poor person that's Asian and that's Indian, they're not here. They're in their own country. And I know living in Hawaii, I know Painless Risen, shout out to him, he's a YouTuber. He lived in Hawaii and he was reminded every time how the people in Hawaii, it's their land. It's their land. And he was made to feel low and he got tired of it. I would get tired of it too. And Hawaii's part of the United States. Now, I even hear Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico is a U.S. colony. Now, you are not an illegal if you come here from Puerto Rico. Now, if you come here from Haiti and the Dominican Republic, yes, you are. But tell me, some of you, why do you want to come over to this country? I mean, what do you bring to this country? You bring a big headache because you're always on the welfare doles. You're not innovating anything. I'm talking about some of you coming from the poorer countries. You're not very patriotic. The only thing that I've seen some of the Mexicans bring over here, yeah, they brought their flag. Yeah, they got their beer over here, the Corona and the Modelo and Dos Equis. We can go without that. The tequila, we can go without that. I live in Indiana. Indiana's got their own brand of bourbon. So does Kentucky. So does Tennessee. They have beer here. We have our own food here. We have fried chicken, collard greens, mashed potatoes, sweet potatoes. See, what we're getting here when it comes to the illegals, particularly from the Mexicos and the Haitis and the Dominicans, we're getting the bottom shelf people. Ones who are always going to be workers, the uneducated. Now, of course, when it comes to the Indians and the Asians out there, Yes, some of them are doctors, some of them are engineers, but the poorer Indians, the poorer Asians, they're not here for the most part. And again, you don't even have a number of Indians who are in the government. They don't need to be in the government. They bring their own money. Now, they have a culture. They have a culture. But I always say, if you're going to come into this country, you need to understand how the system works. You need to understand civics. You need to understand the government and how the government works here. You need to understand that there are three branches of government. You need to speak English. And when it comes to jobs, basically what's the biggest eliminator or the biggest factor from a job here is the fact that they want people to speak bilingual, which basically means English. And I remember back in the days when we were all using the ATM machines, used to have English. Now they have, of course, they basically transitioned over the years, English and Spanish. And when we made a phone call, we didn't have English press 1, Spanish press 2. We didn't have any of that. So we're making accommodations for others. So we're bringing people basically from other countries here in America so we can learn their language here in America. When most of us in America speak English. Most of us in America have our own culture. That makes no sense. And you have the people on the left who believe in it. Because if you don't believe in it, you're racist. But yet, foreigners that come over here, they hate America. Some of the Arabs here hate America. Some of the Palestinians, they hate America. They want to destroy America, but they're here. And they're showing you they hate America by burning our flag and hoisting their flag in America. That makes no sense. I would never be able to do that in another country. You let me go to Russia or even Cuba and go against communists or go to China with an American flag talking shit. What would happen to me? I wouldn't be coming back. But here in America, again, you got people from The View, people like Joy Reid, Abby Phillips from CNN. I want those women, and I hate to say this, I'm gonna sound sexist, a lot of women here are fucked up. That's right, I said they're fucked up. That's why women don't need to be running shit here, or they fuck it up. I don't care if you're black, white, most of these women out here are liberal, they believe in feminism, and they will take any foreign woman who comes from a culture and they'll try to brainwash them with that feminism. I mean, women can speak their mind here, they can disrespect men, but when they go over to another country, you let people like Joy Behar, you let people like Joy Reid go over to the Middle East and talk what they're talking now. See if they don't end up stoned. And that's the big problem here in the United States. We allow foreigners to come over here instead of assimilating into our country. They somehow they connect themselves with the left, and then we have treasonous Americans. Or I shouldn't say treasonous Americans, we have traitorous Americans who are on the left for the most part, who are calling patriotic Americans like me racist, sexist. And that's the problem. And see, in America, when you're dealing with the left in this country, you're dealing with individuals who they really want a dictatorship. And see, what's happening is they got used to running everything in a culture. And now that the pendulum is swinging the other way, they don't like it. So they're calling for all of these movements. And they're thinking that Trump is some dictator, when in essence, they're the ones who are your homophobes. They're the ones who are your racists. They're the ones who are your sexists. But they're the ones who wanted illegal immigration. Again, you have some pervs out there who wanted to use some of those foreigners to make them feel good in different ways. You did. You also have a number of them that want free labor, just like slaves. You have a number of them that want to give them welfare so they'll vote for them. Because the more votes that the Democrats get, the more that they can carry out their socialist and communist agenda. Because that's really what they want. And they want a bigger government because they believe government can solve all of your problems. Government cannot solve all of your problems. So this is not Trump's fault, or this is not Elon Musk's fault. The bottom line is what they're doing is cutting into that gravy train that they once had. Now I work for the government, I work for state, federal government, and there are a lot of government workers who are lazy. They don't do anything but push paper. And they want a paycheck. Yes, you get a pension for the government. But the government doesn't have the latest and the greatest people. They have people, in my humble opinion, who cannot make it in the private sector. Because see, the government, and don't get me wrong now, government employees also pay taxes. But you also have a lot of this money. This is what Elon's looking at. Where's our money going? It's no Project 2025. And many of you who are, and this is another thing, many of you are not using your own mind, particularly on the left. You're repeating everything that you hear. And particularly women do that. They repeat everything that they hear and they call it facts. Meantime, it's not factual. It's bullshit. But the bottom line is, when you have a lot of ignorance here, ignorance is a bliss here in America. It's easy to lie to somebody here in America just to make them feel good. I'm not about making you feel good. I'm about telling you the truth, what you need to know. And I know in Chicago, they're saying, well, hey, businesses are empty. Well, somebody else can buy the businesses that you have and put their own businesses in there. Again, you do have some Mexican chains like Paco's. You do have Alicina and some of those, but you have to be able to deliver more than just food. And Black people, we had it. We had it going even when they built Black Wall Street back. But you know what? We decided that we wanted integration instead of being on our own. And I just believe the best thing for Black people, number one, you need the men in the community, because the women aren't going to do anything. They take advantage of the women, and they do. But Black people, many of us don't see eye to eye. You look at some of our leaders. Think Malcolm X and Martin Luther King saw eye to eye? No. I just believe, in my opinion, Martin Luther King was too passive. Malcolm X was a fighter. But these illegals, and these people who are for the illegals, what they need to do, they need to go to the other countries. Go see what they're like. If you want socialism, particularly some of you Americans, go right across the border to Canada. Go to Sweden. See what they'll do. You're going to find out. You're Americans. These illegals will talk a lot of shit. They'll big up their country, but they won't go back there because they know They know what their country is about. That's why they're here. But they want to throw it in your face that their country is great. I know their countries are shitholes. I've been to those countries when I was in the military. You don't have the brightest bulbs in those countries. Heck, when a mayor gets his head chopped off and a police chief gets his head chopped off in Mexico from the cartels. And to me, when it comes to black people, many of them haven't even been anywhere. Now, I hear a lot of the sisters talk about traveling. They're traveling down in the tourist areas. They're not going over there to Egypt. They're not going over there to the United Arab Emirates or Turkey. And they're not going over there to the real shitholes in India. They're not going over there. They're not going over there because there are no tourists. And I guarantee when you go over to another country, you got to know their customs. You got to know their history. But don't bring that American flag over there. Although we've helped some of those countries, they still don't like Americans over there. But they come here, particularly if you're black, they don't like you either. And they're in this country, riding the coattails of the movement that blacks started. Many of these illegals, they weren't sprayed by hoses. They weren't whooped upside the head with a billy club. They didn't have dogs barking at them like Bloody Sunday down there in Alabama. None of these other individuals went through that. But yet black people, we include them in our movement. And that's why I don't even call myself African American. I'm what you would call FBA, Foundational Black American. Why? Because I was born here. I wasn't born in Africa. I don't know anything about Africa. Yeah, I've been to Al Hacima and Egypt when I was in the military, Morocco. But even though it's Africa, those customs are different. Al Hacima, Egypt, and Morocco, they're a hell of a lot different cultures and customs than Kenya and Nigeria and South Africa. And again, for black people, most of them don't even get out. They don't know what's going on in other countries. They love Africa so much. I'll tell you, Negroes something. You love it so much, get a plane ticket and go over there and visit. Go live for a year. See if you like it. And all you lefties out here who really hate America, you hate America, but why are you here? That's the big question. Go on over there with those other folks. Be around the Mexican cartels. You hate America, but you benefit off of America. You're getting the American education. You're getting the American health system here. You're getting the American money. You're getting the American jobs. You're getting the American opportunities, but you still don't like this country. Like I said, any illegal who comes over here, should be the most patriotic or the most appreciative person. I mean, they should have an American flag painted on their car, painted on their dinner table. And they should be thanking the system for allowing them to be here once they learn the language, borders, and culture here. But they're not grateful. They hate America, but yet they don't want to go back to their own country. They're telling you F Donald Trump. Well, this is what we voted for. Get all the illegals out. You're criminals. You let me go across the border in Mexico. See what's going to happen. I might get shot. Because coming from Central America into Mexico, they do have a border wall. But yet they don't want America to have a border wall. And it's a lot of you lefties. You enable it. Because you're not patriotic yourself. That's why you're always crying racism and sexism. And that's what you all do on the left. If you're not getting your way. You're like petulant children. That's what you're like. You're petulant children. You've never grown up. You're not thinkers. You react off of emotion. That's what you do. You act like you're educating us, but you sound stupid. Many of you, with all these degrees out here, you don't know how the real world works. That's why many of you become social justice warriors, because that's all you can do. But particularly a lot of you on the left, your children. You want to be in there in those protests with these illegals. I know you all do. I mean, this 5150 movement, 50 states. You can have all the protests here in the red states that you want. You're not going to get anywhere in the red states. You're going to keep messing around here. Fuck around and find out, lefties. In these red states, like my state, Indiana, you might be shipped off into one of these blue states. People don't play around here. You can go to Illinois, you can go to Minnesota, Michigan, you can go to the Northeast for all that. Not here. Not in South Carolina, not in North Carolina, not in Florida, not in Texas. A little different. And to all you illegals out there, particularly as the women saying it, where's Black Lives Matter? You illegals said you never had our back. You never had our backs at all. In fact, Black Lives Matter was just a moneymaker for the 3 Black women who live in a white neighborhood. They weren't about Black Lives Matter. They were about themselves. But you liberals said, or you brown people, liberal brown people said you had our backs. You never had our backs. You won't even invite a person to Cinco de Mayo. And a lot of the Mexican men, they want to be like Negroes as far as culture, but you won't let a Black man around your women. You're very territorial because you believe in the hype that you hear about the Black man, the free-thinking Black man. Same with some of you Puerto Rican women. Oh yeah, the Black man, you'll get the ghetto ones, but you ain't gonna get the great ones. And even when it comes to the Asian women, oh yeah, you'll get the bad ones, the feminists, just like on the dating sites. You'll get a lot of your liberal women on the dating sites, but you're not gonna get anybody that's worth anything. You're a Black man. No, not all, but a number of them. Our own Black women put us through enough trauma, but we also put them through some trauma too, because we don't have the structure. And with Black people, see, here's another thing about Black people. We're not structured. This is why we're not patriotic. Coming with patriotism comes a structure, authority. We don't want authority. That's why we don't have anything. And some of these illegals don't want authority either. They want to do what they want to do in this country instead of abiding by the cultures of this country. That's the problem. And when it comes to we as Black people, it's our fault for allowing it. Again, these illegals are going to come over. They're going to take your money. They're not inventing anything. You look at the Black women in most of the beauty supply stores. You got Asians with African hair care products in the beauty supply stores in the hood. $1 billion industry. That's something we should be on. I know over in the Philadelphia area, you would think it was Black But it was Arabs who owned Lincoln Fried Chicken and Crown Fried Chicken in the Philadelphia area. And here, when I go to a Five Guys here, or when I go to a Wingstop here, and I know when I lived in Lafayette, Indiana, you know who was cooking fried chicken? You guessed it, Mexicans. They didn't have us back there cooking it. But a Wingstop here on 82nd Street, Mexicans. Five Guys, Mexicans. And, you know, it's not that they're taking the jobs, but what they do, they have their gang of guys because they can speak different languages. You're a black man, or even if you're a black woman, for the most part, because they're part of DEI as well. Because they speak two languages, they're bilingual. Being bilingual eliminates us from getting good jobs. And that's even in some of the government positions as well. Again, shout out to Minister Japp for saying that, but we all knew that. The bottom line is, here in America, you got people in America that go against other Americans because we don't want illegals here. Bottom line is, you Americans, like your Joy Behars, other views, and your Sonny Houstons, and your Joy Reids, and your Abby Phillips, CNN, all of your lefties in Washington, if you don't like America, leave. Don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you, because we will not miss you at all. Bottom line is, we will do better without you, because many of you are living lavish lifestyles. You talk about individuals who work, it's just like the women out here. Oh, well, we don't need men. Yeah, it's funny when you say you don't need a man after everything is built for you, because you didn't have to build it. Now you think you have all this power because you've been let in the door because of DEI. And it's true, most of you women get in the door by DEI. It's true. More so than men. And that's why most women in this country are leftists. They're also more go. And it's not hating women, because you have a number of women who are also on the right. But most of the women, particularly from your urban areas, I should put it more clearly, in your suburban area where you have a lot of materials, where you have a lot of colleges, you're the most indoctrinated, the most gullible, because you believe that you're better because you have a job and a college degree. You don't. You're not better. You're not smarter. You don't know how the real world works. You've been given an opportunity through programs. And for all you illegals, there's nothing wrong with you coming in to do it the legal way. But if you're going to even come in and do the legal way, be American. Yes, you can have your culture at home. You can have your flag in the house. But if you're going to put your flag outside, put the American flag outside. I mean, the thing about black people, I hate to say it, black people are not patriotic. Even when they go in the military, they're there for the check. I do not see too many black people with American flags. Yeah, did I see some on YouTube with Make America Great hats on? Did I see someone on YouTube like ABL and the Conservative Twins and the Vine of Jamal? Those guys I listened to, they had flags. To everyday black person, they don't hang the American flag because they don't care about the American flag, because they still believe that they're oppressed. And some of them are traitors themselves. You know, And what some black people don't know is black people sold black people into slavery. Black people weren't the only ones that were slaves. You had Scottish people that were slaves. You've had you've had black people who were slave owners as well, because not every white person owned a plantation because they couldn't afford it. And you also had Irish people, they were slaves. And you know what's funny about racism too? You go into Mexico. Mexico used to have Aztec Indians, and they were black, much darker than me. See, a lot of what you see in Africa was brought over here from Spain. You know, Mexico used to be called New Spain, and Puerto Rico. You had a little bit of, you know, some African American, well, some Africans over there, some Indians over there, conquistadors over there, because you have different shades of Latinos out here. You have some Latinos that look white. Going to Cuba, you have some Latinos who are black. And we don't live over there, but I guarantee you they have racism over there as well. I heard in Mexico they did. Generally, the lighter you are in Mexico and the taller you are, the better you are. But if you short and dark over in Mexico, you're going to get ridiculed as well. But see, Americans don't know that because they think it's happening over here. This is why Americans want to get out of this country. When you wanted to get out of this country when Trump was elected, why didn't you go? I remember the first time I heard the same thing from Rosie O'Donnell. Well, we're going to leave. Well, why didn't you go? What are you still doing here? I mean, to me, if I don't like a place, I'm not going to be around. But for the most part, when it comes to America, it's not the country, it's the people. We have a lot more free speech than any other country. That's why these lefties don't want to go to other countries, because they know that Marxism and that communism isn't going to work. The women, especially here, they're not going to have their rights in those other countries like they do here. But they'll tell you how bad this country is instead of appreciating it. But I still call them traitorous Americans because they hate this country based off of their own projections of racism. And anytime you are constantly mentioning racism, sexism, any of that, you're the racist. That's who the most racist people are. It's your liberals. The bottom line, many of them want big government because they're lazy people too. And with all these illegals coming over here, you get them out here, you can cut the welfare system. Some of that money can stay here. It's what individuals don't think. They're stupid. Because they're so stupid, they think everything is racism, sexism. I mean, you have people like Roland Martin out there. You know, DEI does not only pertain to race. See, black people look at it as race. Things like disability. It does have some ultimate of gender in there. It does have some race in there. But just because you are what we believe or deem as a protective class doesn't mean you get special privileges. And that's what's wrong with this country. And the left brought that on. They want special privileges without working for them. And that's why they like government, because they can get government contracts instead of learning how to do it on their own. Now, are there people who are prejudiced here? Absolutely. But that's everywhere. And see, most Americans don't even leave their own, I can't say most, have a number of them that don't even leave their own city. And then when you get a lot of these illegals out here, you won't have cramped public school systems. You won't have to worry about nice hotels being filled up. Use those nice hotels for people to come back to your city and put money in your city. Because you have so many people who are not thinkers, even in America, they're not thinkers. Many of them, they're lied to. And they talk to make themselves feel good because basically, particularly on the left, a number of individuals are very selfish people. And these are illegals. And they are illegals. You're criminals. If you cross it, look, let's put it to you this way. If somebody came into my apartment, whether I was home or if I wasn't home, is that a crime? If I invade a woman's body, is that a crime? So what's the difference between what I'm saying about somebody breaking into my house or breaking into a woman's body and crossing that wall? There's no difference. You are a criminal. And you're going to pay the consequences for being a criminal. Now, fortunately, if you cross that wall, you get sent back. You can come do it the right way. But now, if I enter a woman's body without her permission, or I break into somebody's house, I'm ended up in jail or dead. There's consequences. There's no second chance. That's what a number of these liberals are. And I'm just saying every liberal is bad, but most of them that you see on TV and social media, because this is really what's going on. See a lot of this crap on social media. And basically, when it comes to America, there is no Project 2025. 900 pages, many of you just repeat what you hear on TV. You don't think for yourselves. When it comes to DEI, many of you don't even know what DEI is. You got the stupid idiots again, like Roland Martin. They're making it about race. It's more than about race. You're giving people special privileges, even if they're not qualified to do the job. Also, when it comes to individuals, you think about it. They're coming over here getting services that we can't get. Health care. I got to pay for my health care. Again, food. They pay less for their food than I pay for my food. They don't even have to work to get the amount of food that I got to pay twice or three times as much as them. Some of them had $13,000 worth of EPT cards. Some of them did. And see, for all the cities that are sanctuary cities and they don't want to abide by what this administration says, cut the funding, cut it for everything. You got people like fat ass Governor Pritzker over Illinois. He's not going to listen, cut the funding. That's all you do. Cut the funding. Don't send that state any money and then let them kill each other. Cut it from Chicago, cut it from Baltimore, Detroit, Philadelphia, all these cities. Like I said, in a number of these cities, you know, you give the black woman power. Many of them can't run anything. They want to, you know, a number of these sisters want to be the heads. They can't even run their own lives. They want to tell somebody what to do. And then when you criticize them, they want to shame you. They don't need to be in power because when you're in leadership, you're going to have to take criticism. You're going to have to take accountability because it's all on you. You just don't get the title because you're a black woman. You know, like that Tiffany woman in Dalton. Oh, well, you're going to go against a black woman? Yeah, we're going to go against you because you're messing up the city here that we're paying it. But you know what? You got the dummies who vote for them too. You got the dummies, especially black people. Black people only vote for somebody because they're black. They don't care about anything else. They're black. And their living conditions will never change. And like I said, even when the illegals come over, you're not getting the brightest, the innovators. You're getting individuals that are just laborers. That's what you get. These individuals will never step their game up. This is why they live 10 to 15 to a house. Now, some of them might end up getting their own businesses later on, but most of them are not. Yeah, they're good for cornering the market on landscaping. Yeah, they work hard. But in the end, they're laborers. That's all they are. And that's all most of them are going to be. But overall, here in America, you're going to be here in America, learn the customs of America. If you love your country, go back to your country. And if you Americans here are enabling them to stay and they're criminals, you need to leave too, because you don't like this country, you don't respect this country. Again, no other country is going to tolerate any American coming to their country, talking about their country and burning their flag. It should be 10, 20 years if you burn the flag. You should rot in jail because that's a symbol. That's a symbol of that flag being there at Fort McHenry when the British were coming. Because we could be speaking another English if Francis Scott Key in Baltimore at Fort McHenry didn't write that national anthem. Nobody knows that. Got all these dumb liberals up there, particularly the liberal women, Chucky Schumer. Got everything to talk about when it comes to America. They benefit from America. The Democrats, black people, most black people are Democrats. You keep on running in that same playbook. People like me are going to make sure you're out of power for a long time because your playbook doesn't work. And again, if you don't like what President Trump is doing, you can criticize it all you want. You can put up articles of impeachment all you want, but you don't have the power in the House or the Senate. 2026, you may even lose more House seats. So you better be careful what you wish for. Joy Behar, Joy Reid, Roland Martin. You better start learning about some patriotism. We'll get out of this country. So all you all are doing is crying like children when you don't get your way. You had 4 years of the Biden-Harris regime who didn't care about Americans. Now you have somebody that cares about Americans, and now you want to go back to utilizing the race card. You want to have it because the illegals are going out. You got an issue. But you didn't give Biden that smoke when the illegals were coming in. And they were taking some of the jobs that we had. Think about that. Think about them coming into your neighborhoods, taking away your jobs, especially if you're not bilingual and you're Black. Also think about this, Black people. Better learn to be free-thinking Black people. Because all these other cultures, they don't give a damn about you. And they're riding on the coattails that Black people built. And they're still calling you nigger to your face in a different language. And in the end, you gotta ask yourself this. When it comes to living in America, want to be here where you pretty much have freedom, express yourself. And do you appreciate being here? Or you want to go into these other countries? And you can talk them up all you want, but you're here. We're sending you there, back to where you are. Go make your other countries great. And take some of the Americans with you who don't like this country. But in the end, America is for winners, it's for opportunists, and it's for patriots. And if you don't like this country, get the hell out. Why? Because you need to go back to where you came from. And in the end, whether you are American, you don't like this country, or illegals, when you leave, we will not miss you. And that's my commentary for this edition of the 401 Talk Zone radio show right here on YouTube. If you like what I just presented, please comment, share, and subscribe. And if you're looking for some STEM content, you check out my second channel, the QCIS channel. On that channel, I give you a daily dose of science, technology, engineering, and math. Now, here's where you can find me. When it comes to the 401 Talk Zone radio show, you can find me here on YouTube, Rumble, X, formerly Twitter, and Truth Social. And when it comes to the QCIS channel, you can find me on YouTube. You can also find me on X, formerly Twitter, and you can find me on LinkedIn. And in the end, be blessed for what you have. Don't worry about what you don't have. Always know that the sun rises in the east and sets in the west. And if it doesn't apply, let it fly. But if the shoe fits, wear it. If you don't like the shoe, then change it. And once again, thank you for listening to this edition of the 411 Talk Zone radio show right here on YouTube. Until next time, my name is Leon Jones. I want you all to have a wonderful and gracious evening. God bless you. I'm out.